Hello and welcome back. I'm Christy, the voice behind Crafty Christy's Creations Silhouette Studio Tutorials, which is a subset of Crafty Christy's Creations how-to videos. This is the place to find step-by-step directions on how to do all the things in Silhouette Studio. Whether you're a beginner or needing a little refresher, this is the place for you. So grab your computer and open Silhouette Studio. It's time to dive into another episode. All right, friends, I've got another print and cut project for you. This time we are going to make some print and cut Christmas tags. So I've got these super cute tags here, and then the first thing we're going to do is change our media size to match what can fit through our printer. So for me, that is going to be letter size. And then while I am on this page, I am going to go ahead and turn on my print and my cut border. So the print border is this gray one, and then the cut border is the red line there. Let's just turn that up so we can see what we're doing here. All right, and then over here, I'm going to come to my registration marks. Let's go ahead and turn those on. And under advanced options, this is where you can do a lot more with your registration marks. So if you really want to save space, you can go ahead like some people. So down here, you can do default or you can invert. So depending on how your printer is set up, maybe you can maybe you have a smaller margin at the bottom of the page. You can see my printer, which is the gray line. I have a small margin at top, but I have a pretty deep margin down here. And actually this bottom cut line is not going to be within my print border. And I need to be able to print this full spot here. So what I'm going to do is this bottom insert, I am going to just make that shorter so that way I'm inside of my print border. So other things you can do if you wanted to save more space and fill up your page more, you can come over here and you can really just take all of these and slide them all the way to the edge there. And you can see when you do that now, you've got a lot more room to print there. So I'm going to go back. Let's see if I can just adjust these a little bit. So I got to bring that bottom up. But you can see everything is still within my gray print border. So that's what needs to happen. And even with my smaller registration marks, everything there is fine. So, and the next thing you want to do is make sure your entire design is within this red cut border. So anything that is outside of your red cut border is not going to cut. And then the next thing I'm going to do, just to get more bang for my buck, I am going to grab these three here, and I'm just holding down the shift key while I select everything. And I'm going to hold down Alt or the Option key on a Mac, and I'm going to click and drag another copy of these down to the bottom here. Just so I get a little more bang for my buck, now I'm going to get some more in here. And now I'm going to select all of my designs. I just individually select, or you could hit Control A to select all. And then I'm going to ungroup. So you can either right click and hit ungroup, or you can do Shift Control G to ungroup. And the reason I am doing that is because we need to change all of our red tags to no fill color. So that way they're not going to print. We only want these to cut. So I'm going to hold down Shift and select all of my red tags. And I'm going to give them a no fill color because I'm going to print this on red paper. I don't need it to also print red. Okay, so now when I go to print, it's going to print my to and from in this green color. And it's going to print all of these little registration marks. So now I can come up to my print. And then it's going to show me a print preview. So again, this is my print border, and it's showing me all my registration marks are within my print border, and my to and my from are the only thing that's going to print. When you're ready, you can go ahead and hit print. Okay, so we've got it all printed out. You can see we have our registration marks, our big solid ones in this corner, and then we've got our little half squares on the other two ends. So when you go to lay this on your paper, or on your mat, you want this corner to be in the top left corner of your mat. So let's go ahead and do that. So again, the solid square goes in the top left corner. And you want to make sure you don't make any more changes to your screen since you've printed, otherwise that could mess up how things turn out here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load this into my cutting machine. Make sure I've got the right settings here, and I do. Alright, so the only thing I'm going to do over here is go to the send panel. And then we're gonna go to fill color, sorry. And then the one that is no fill color is what we want to cut, and then we want to turn off the green because that was the to and from that we printed. So we're gonna do that, and then so it's just gonna cut the outline and then the little shapes in the bottom of the tag. And then I've got all my correct cut settings, and then I'm going to come down to the bottom and hit send. And so right now it's checking the registration marks. So it'll check that top one, and it'll check the side one down here. And then it'll come up to this corner, and it's going to check that registration mark as well. Now that it's got all the registration marks checked, and it seems to think that they're good, it's going to go ahead and start cutting. And so since we didn't print like a ton of color in here, we just printed the to and from, even if this is slightly off, it'll be fine, but it shouldn't be off because we have our registration marks on there. We've recently gone through and aligned our print heads on our printer, and then we checked the print screen to make sure that it looked correct. So everything should be looking good, and then we'll see what this looks like when it's done. Alright, so it is all done cutting. We are going to go ahead and peel up an edge here to make sure we have a good cut before we take this off and unload it. And you can see here as I peel up, it looks very good. We have nice clean edges, so I can hit unload. Put this back over here. Alright, so now we're just going to peel this stuff off. So this is a brand new mat for me. So things are extra sticky. So what I'm going to do, I have this little paint scraper that I got from the dollar store. And I am just going to use it and come up under my design while I peel the mat away. And I'm just going to use this to help me just try to keep everything on the, like, coming off the mat. So I'm just going to press down. This is just going to help things not rip and tear or warp as I try to pull things off the mat. Since it's extra sticky, until it gets down to where it's, you know, not, after a few uses and my mat's not overly sticky, I'll be able to just peel things up off of the mat. But until then, I'm just going to take some extra care to really just peel my mat away from my projects. Okay, so now if you look at these, you know, there's just a few little places here that we still kind of need to poke and prod and peel these little delicate pieces apart. But for the most part, this cut very nice and clean. Just trying to peel a little center piece out of here. Okay. So, we're just going to poke the little center. So if my mat wasn't quite so sticky, I could have easily just peeled these right off my mat. And then I wouldn't have had to poke all these extra pieces out. They would have just fallen and stayed right on the mat. Okay, so there are all of our print and cut tags that are ready for Christmas. So we could definitely have just gone ahead and printed some names on there. And then you'd be all set. So now the only thing we need to do is just add a little string to them. So I've got some little baker's twine here. Go ahead and snip off a chunk. And then I like to have the loop show up nicely in the front. So you're going to push through the back. No, you want to go loop to the back and then come over, and then that'll make a nice loop. There you go. And then you'll just tie this end to your bag and you'll be all set. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, click like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future Silhouette Studio tutorials. Until next time, with love, Crafty Christy.